Okay, guys, so one of the issues is the difference between positional play and dispositional or principled play and fluid play. In positional play, you take up a position as a free man. You move till you're open. And what's happening is that a press can be organized to cut off this passing lane. And when the ball's forced there, we're getting countered on. So Zach had a great question. You don't want us to get open. And in particular in the midfield, in the modern game, there's no time to check down a pivot, and even if you do, you're creating a situation where we can cut off and then press. So, a couple things. In a dispositional or more principle-based play, you take up a position in between two defenders, and now you're the third man. So that's sort of a disposition. Disposition would be narrow, right? If you can make it, that's called a staircase or a ladder. And the reason that works is because A, you're going forwards. You're always an option forward as well, right? And you're option the third man. Then you keep going. And because these players are biased towards positional play, right? This player won't track. Now, more fluid play, what we're trying to get you to do, you follow the press. And then you just step out at the last second so that this player can't press and then press. And depending on the intensity of the press, when you follow the press, if it's just a squeeze, then you can step out a little bit like that. If it's a press, you can follow the press and step out, or you can follow the press and we can almost block there, and this player goes there. And that's the tiki-taka triangle. So this is the Boca system, where you follow the press and it's sort of a squeeze and you surround the defender. So rather than get open, you follow the press. And you can play around the defender. That's Boca small, right? You can open up a little bit and do what's called a bounce pass. You either drive that way and get the ball back, or swing this way and get the ball back. Sometimes you drop the 9 in here. So you follow the press. If the press is really intense, you step in front of the press. And the triangle's always in front of the defenders. If the press is not really intense, you can surround the press. And if they drop into a zone, you swing and go, or swing and drop. kind of 4v3 we played today. So you guys have been taught to play positionally and to adjust if there's a man between you and the ball to get open. And again, the problem with that is someone can step and they're pressing the ball. You can play dispositionally, right? Exchange, overload. Or you can play more fluid. So dispositionally, we take a third man position. Or overload. But you can also play more fluid. In front of the press, follow the press and surround the press. Or when they get tired, swing around the press. You can go here either way or towards, right? Right. So what we want to do is when you play positionally, you have to be either have a numerical superiority and or a technical superiority at the ball. Or you're going to lose the ball. So we either want to play dispositionally, right? Third man, first man, second man shows, third man runs. Dispositionally, overload. Not positional. Don't want a free man, especially in the midfield. If you're open, something's wrong. If you're open, they can block and press. Open takes too long to get there, and they can block and press. So we don't want to play positionally. We want to play dispositionally, third man's and overloads, or we want to play fluid. And that's the Boca system, right? Depending on the shape and nature of the press and the triangle, the fluidness of the triangle is what counts, right? The triangle then can be very fluid. And that's missing from the concept of positional play, which was dependent on taking up a space, creating a free man, and then rotating. So that positional play, while you're rotating, and because you have to take out so much space, like you have to check back so long, so far, you're vulnerable. Especially the teams that will press with numbers, right? So they don't have to play positionally. So if a team knows how to press with numbers, or they have press triggers, you're going to be vulnerable. So Pep Guardiola kind of moved from positional play, strictly positional play, to dispositional play, which is now overloads or third man runs. So here, here, here. Third man position, third man run, right? Player shows, he goes. Player shows, he takes a position between the two as he goes. Up the ladder. But ultimately, originally, the positional to dispositional sort of model was reliant or backed up on the Boca system, which was reliant on a much more fluid setup, which was about following the press and reading the press. And trying to put them inside our triangles, or trying to move the triangle in front of the defense. And no matter what the game model is, whether it's fluid play, dispositional play, right? That's Juan Leo, dispositional play. The overloads, right, which shrinks the field. Third man runs, which extends the field vertically, right? Rather than rotations and positions and free men, third man runs and overloads and pausing. So you have to step on the ball to produce third man runs and overloads. You need someone to show, right? So Juan Leo, about 3 years ago, was recruited by Man City to do the position to disposition kind of adjustment. And, you know, with the most recent iteration, you're probably going to see, and I haven't checked them out yet, but you're probably going to see more fluid play and more automations from Man City, right? When the dispositional stuff has kind of been figured out. So go back to old school Barca. Anyway, so to answer Zach's question, that is the sort of spectrum of why you don't want a free man, why the free man, faced with very sort of vertical presses, is not going to work. So we're getting Timba out wide, some other people, right? And we're here and we're waiting. He's going free to be open, and then we're losing the ball, right? So learning positional play, following the press, closing down and overloading, reading the game, reading the intensity of the press. Really important. Understanding the rules of the four. Because if we face an intense press, there's no longer a positional play available. The intensity of this press we're facing, and given our technical ability to deliver a quick pass is too slow, touch is not there. This is no longer an option. So at the highest level, yes, maybe. But even Pep Guardiola is now shrinking the field dispositionally and then triggering the third man run. Right? So the third man run, show, go, flick, flick. for instance. So, see how this field is shrunk. If you have a free man, you're open, then the field opens up. But the problem is, it's great for everyone else, but on the ball, we're in trouble. We're creating problems. We have 3 or 4 men open at times, right? And the other team is sensing it and trapping the ball player. And if we don't get a foul here, we're in trouble. Anyway, great question from Zach. We will see you tomorrow. We'll work on some of this stuff.